The video game industry is huge and vastly growing, with a massive following. It is globally becoming more and more recognised as an art form and can be used to display many meanings and emotions. The video game industry itself in 2016 sold 135 million games and generated $22 billion for the US economy. 150 million Americans play video games each year. 41% of this are women. This brings us to the question, are women and other groups misrepresented in the industry and the games themselves? To find out more, we went to Worthing College in West Sussex to find out what students thought about how women are represented in video games, particularly Grand Theft Auto 5.
Well, I think when you get GTA, if you know a lot about it, you kind of know what to expect. I mean, it's not everyday life, but a lot of normal things in GTA are like killing people and running people over with cars. And I'd say the women though, they're quite they undermine the women quite a lot in GTA. I'd say, like they make it quite sexual, talking about body features and stuff like that. And it's kind of, women are side characters, they're not really the main character, never really focused on that much.
I think it's quite annoying how all the men are main characters and that all the women are like side characters, and all the women are like made out to look really stupid and really like pathetic.
We were lucky enough to get an interview with UK-based developer The Chinese Room, who have brought us such games as Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which is an award-winning game nominated for 10 BAFTA awards. We were lucky enough to get shown around their studio and get interviews with the lead designer Catherine and artist Alex.
I'm Alex Graham, I'm an artist and I work at the Chinese Room. I've been working here for about 3 years now, and this was my first job in the industry. So I worked on Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and just currently working on our upcoming titles.
I'm Catherine Woolley, I'm a senior designer at the Chinese Room. I've been at the Chinese Room for, I don't know, just over half a year now, working on a new project. But prior to that I was at Creative Assembly, where I worked on Alien Isolation and Halo Wars 2. And then prior to that I was at Electronic Arts Brightlight, working on Harry Potter games and Flips, which were interactive books for kids on the DS. So I've been in the industry for like just over 7 years now, I think.
There's a few examples of women who are represented in games that are done in a more accurate way to represent their own experiences. Like for instance, Gertrude Bell in Battlefield 1. That was really good because it's based on a real person, so it's really having to represent her as it was. But I think when you come to games where it's based on fantasy or making up a character, like a fictional character, I think often it's very sexualized, or it's at least going to probably be a middle-class white female, usually younger and attractive. Not much is really represented in the way of things like mental health or sexuality, except for more recent titles where we've seen things like Life is Strange, which is seen to represent, try to represent more women in diverse kind of roles. But I think generally speaking, there's still a long way to go with it.
When it comes to women represented in games, it's something that the industry still needs to, I suppose, learn from games that give you good examples and ways they can mature, because you still get standard stereotypes of women either not wearing much, not really the best characters, or like princesses that require saving, I guess is a good generic way to refer to it. So it's something that is definitely getting better, but
I think you can see why it is though as well, because the people who are making these games, it's still such a boys' club in the games industry, and everyone making games at the highest level are usually male, straight white men. So we don't really have those other demographics represented for the senior management team that are going to be influencing like the way the direction of the game's going, whether that's to include female characters or other ethnicities as well. I think it's difficult to speak for the wider industry, but my own personal experience is that the games that we make at the Chinese Room are quite a bit different, and I think it's because we try to focus on different types of people. And I think something that the industry could do a bit better is trying to include other demographics within their titles, whether they be protagonists, NPCs, or otherwise. And I think it's going to be a really important step to getting more people playing video games.